Question. This is the question. Ask yourself this. You see, a lot of people, they deal with misnomers or things or hearsay and things that are not factual. And a lot of times right now, a lot of people are going through a whole lot of stuff on the earth because instead of worshiping what we call holy days, they worship these man-made holidays. And get this, the Lord's children, these are the elect, the chosen ones that the Lord is going to come back and gather. Were they truly free in 1776? No. Let me read something for you. The 4th of July celebrates the passage of the Declaration of Independence by a Continental Congress of July 4th, 1776. The Declaration announced the political separation of the 13 North American colonies from Great Britain, because we know that this is what? A British colony. So saying that and knowing that this is a British colony and that this is one of their colonies that they actually set up a long time ago when they came in and took the land from the indigenous people, who back then at these times they called them Indians, Negro, black, colored, whatever you want to call it. But the question is, if that was 1776, when truly were the people of Israel or the original people of that land, Jacob's children, when were they free? The Republican Party subsequently introduced the 13th Amendment into Congress on April 1864. So we know that this 1776 is when this so-called 4th of July was enacted. So who were the people that benefited? Let me keep reading. It says the necessary two-thirds, it had to have a necessary two-thirds of the overwhelming Republican Party Senate to pass the amendment. However, the House of Representatives, featuring a higher proportion of Democrats, did not pass the amendment by a two-thirds majority vote until January of 1865, 3 months before the Confederate Robert E. Lee surrendered. So saying that was a long period before we even received so-called freedom, and we know right now we're not free. So these things, or this false, what I call the false narrative, that we, for some odd reason, should be celebrating these pagan holidays which did not benefit us. We're celebrating a time when the so-called colonizers came into the Americas. And when they came into the Americas, they came in and subdued all of the people that were in the lands. It was 180 almost 200 some million of us. And there was a book I've been reading on my line. It's called The American Holocaust. And it tells you when they came in, almost 140, 150 million of our people passed away. Why? Because of disease and pestilence, because of our transgression against our Father in heaven. So your so-called 4th of July that you want us to pay homage to, it has nothing to do with our people. As a matter of fact, what it's doing is it's paying homage to your ancestors coming in and taking our people and putting them under subjection. Not only that, taking their land, their gods, and everything that we knew. As a matter of fact, when they put us under the yoke, they knew who we were. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and let me read a precept for you. This is what they said to us when they came into this land and took it. We had gardens, fountains. We had beautiful landscaping. We had animals that are completely extinct now. Because every time a certain group of people come into a nation, what do? They pillage it, they rape it, and they rob it. And then they set up these laws, their judgments, and their statutes. And they expect the Lord's children to follow them when it doesn't agree with their spirit. You see, we should never, ever be celebrating their 4th of July, a day where they have their independence, where they came in and took the land of the indigenous people and subdued them. And so now they want to say, you know what, now we're independent, we're a nation. Well, in 1776, when they came in, they had hardly been here but a little while in this nation, no more than 100 or so years, if that. And so saying that, they cannot say that they came in and liberated anything. How can you liberate a nation of people that were already there? But what they're talking about is their liberation. They're coming through and whitewashing everything. And this is what they required of the people. I'm going to read Psalms 137, 1 through 9. It says here, by the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down, yea, we wept when we remembered Zion. We hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof. For there they that carried us away captive required from us a song. And they wasted on us, required of us mirth, saying, sing us one of those songs of Zion. This is what they asked us to do. When they came in, took our land, knew that we are the children of Zion, they always required a song of us. Verse 4, it says here, how shall we sing us the Lord's song in a strange land? because they would take us from one border to another border, from one area to another area. And then they would take us from Naphtali had land, Gad had land, Issachar, Zebulun, Judah, all through the Americas we had land. And they would take certain tribes into lands that wasn't theirs, strange, over bodies of waters that they changed the names completely. And then when they would do this and they would come in and take the land, because sometimes they took us to different lands, other times they just came in and conquered the lands we were in. And that was the internal slave trade. You had a slave trade, you understand, that was what you would call the Atlantic slave trade, where we had some slaves come over, but most of the slavery was internal. This is what they said when they came in and took the Lord's children. Again, this is Psalms 137, 1 through 9. I'm on verse 40. Verse 4 says, how shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? If I forget, O thee, Jerusalem, because remember in 70 A.D., General Bastion and Titus put a slaughter to our people in the land over there that we call Jerusalem. But remember, we got lands here, if you look at the old maps, that were called Jerusalem as well. It says here, let my right hand forget her cunning. It says, if I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy. It says here, get this, above my chief joy. But who? Who had the Lord's children in subjection? Who had them into slavery? Let's keep reading. Verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, and raise it even to the foundation thereof. And this is why the Lord said they should have not waited and wasted by the walls and waited for their people or their brothers to be taken away. You see, there was a time when Esau and Edom sat and waited by the gates. Not only waited, they helped the Romans to deliver us up. And then they also took us from Jerusalem over that land, Nigeria, Ghana, other places, and they brought some here. But the majority of the people in the Americas were already here. They were called Indians. They were called Indians, Negroes, Black, Cherokee, whatever. Black means void of color. It means no life. And so saying that, we don't even like to use these terms. This is why you need to use scripture. And it totally gives you understanding of what's going on in this world right now. Let me keep reading. It says here, verse 7 again, it says, remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it even to the ground. It says here, verse 8, the daughter of Babylon, who art destroyed, happy shall be. It says, happy shall he be that rewards thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. Wow, why does he say that? Because when you start learning Psalms 83, verse 1, keep not thy silence, O Lord, and hold not thy peace, and be not still, for lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their heads. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and they consulted against thy little ones. They say, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, so that the name of Israel will be no more remembrance. For they came together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. And so they will call it a confederacy. This is Psalms 83, verse 1. This confederacy is the ones who had us in slavery. These are the ones, you understand, who required a song, required us to sing an old Zion song, as Psalms 137, 1 through 9 said. So, saying that, we've learned that in 1776, that the so-called Europeans had their Independence Day. Our people weren't really released in 1865. And saying that, we're still in bondage. You see, it was a hidden slavery. Instead of doing it overtly, now they're doing it covertly. They set up laws, judgments, statutes that only benefits them. They own all the court systems, all the judges, and most of the attorneys are sort of, kinda. So saying that Satan, as we read Revelation 2:9, I know those who say they are us and are not, but do lie, but worship where? In the synagogues of Satan. The Lord tells you exactly who these people are, who set up all these systems. These are the ones who put perpetual hell on the earth. So when you want to know what's going on around you, and before you go out, start worshiping these pagan holidays, always, when you look at the tree and you see the branches and then you see the fruit, inspect the fruit. But one thing you need to do, always go back to that root. It will show you exactly what fruit is coming on that tree, even if it's disguised. Many are called, few are chosen.